Welcome to r/am I the jerk, where this girl wonders if she's in the right or the wrong for giving away her friend's ticket to a Taylor Swift concert. Am I the jerk for giving away my friend's ticket to the Taylor Swift concert and leaving without her? So, a long time ago, I, a 20-year-old woman, bought 4 tickets to the Taylor Swift concert in our city that happened this past weekend. It was going to be me, Marissa, Haley, and Aiden. We're all besties from high school. Everyone paid me for the tickets and planned accordingly. We were planning on getting there pretty early to hang out for a bit. Everyone knew this plan for a long time, but for some reason, Marissa couldn't/didn't get off work. She is a server at a breakfast restaurant and normally doesn't work too late. This was all on Saturday, by the way. I also have an older sister who lives in this city who really wanted to go, but couldn't. She begged me to be a backup in case anything happened. We don't live very close to the city, like an hour drive, sometimes longer, so we planned on leaving at 2 p.m. At around 1, I started texting everyone to get ready because I had to start picking people up. Marissa told us she should get off at around 12, but she didn't say anything when I texted the group. I texted her individually and called her. No response. I started picking up everyone and she was the last person to get. I kept calling and we waited outside her house for a bit. I said screw it, so I went to the door. Her parents answered and said that Marissa has not come home yet. Together, we decided to then leave without her. We got 20 minutes into the drive when all our phones started blowing up. It was Marissa, apologizing and saying there was issues at work and she had to stay, but she's speeding home and will be ready in 15 minutes. It was like 2:30 at this point. Aiden called her and explained what happened, and I could hear her screaming her head off at him. He eventually hung up on her. My sister met us there and zelled the money to Marissa in the exact amount she paid me. We had a blast. I'm asking if I was a jerk here, because none of us have heard from Marissa since even after apologizing. Oh wow, I mean this is shocking. This is really shocking behavior. You killed a friendship for 30 minutes of time. You were still there hours before the show. I get it, you wanted to be there hours before the show, but come on, what are you expecting? Your friend Marissa has told you that she has a shift. And look, I get it, you have your own plans and you want things to go according to those plans, but someone's at work, things can always go wrong. They might stay a little bit longer. Isn't that part of the reason why you want to go so early? Because things could change and events could happen like this. You didn't even wait though for 30 minutes. If someone's not answering their phone and it's a big day and you know that you're supposed to be with them, it's clear that something's gone wrong or they're occupied and they'll get back to you as soon as they possibly can. You couldn't have just waited a little bit longer? Kind of embarrassing. And also, like, is she really even your friend if you don't want to wait a little bit of time? So poor from you. I mean, yeah, good, your sister enjoyed it, but you also massively let someone down. Taylor Swift, let's be honest, probably the biggest artist in the world right now. I mean, I don't really like her sort of music, I'll be honest, but if you're a Taylor Swift fan, and you had a ticket for that, and it was pulled away from you at the last moment, not even in your control, you'd be absolutely fuming. OP, you are the jerk. Marissa, I'm really sorry, and I hope you get to see her again without OP in the near future. Am I the jerk for not attending my graduation party and telling everyone why when they asked? My family has not celebrated anything to do with me since I was 12 years old. My dad and his new wife had a baby that year, and I was kind of forgotten about. I'd get birthday presents and such, but no party or anything. I got used to it and started a tradition of celebrating with my friends. We'd go see movies or whatever. One of my friend's mums found out and started making me a cake every year for my birthday. When I graduated from high school, I'd saved up enough money to go on a week-long vacation in New York City with my best friend and her mum to see Hadestown. I just finished university and I'm starting my new job right away. I guess my dad had planned a big party for me as a surprise, but I didn't show up because I went out with my friends instead. When my family started asking me why I didn't show up after my father had gone through all the effort for me, I explained that he hadn't celebrated anything of mine in 10 years and I didn't know he had planned to do so this time. He told everyone I was lying, so I asked him to post any pictures he had from my birthday parties, extracurricular activities, or high school graduation. He obviously couldn't, and everyone started trashing on him. Now he's mad for talking about private family matters. I'm just gonna go over there and pick up the few things I have left in that house and just move to my new city without dealing with this anymore. So, am I the jerk? Oh, so embarrassing. Nothing worse than a dad trying to protect himself and trying to convince everyone that he's a good parent and just being completely exposed like that. It's great to see, but it's so embarrassing from his perspective. Shocking, really. Like, what is he expecting here? How dare you tell the truth about me being such a bad parent? Yeah, I'm going to. And then obviously that's the reason that, first of all, I didn't think you were going to ever throw me a surprise party or any party at all. And second of all, probably wouldn't have gone anyway, because I actually just don't rate you as a bloke. Simple as that. Suffice to say, OP is clearly not the jerk in this story. Now moving on to another post about graduation. Am I the jerk for wanting my graduation dinner to be about me and not about my impressive sister? I'm going to graduate high school. We are celebrating early since my family is down for my sister's college graduation. I've always felt my sister is better than me at basically everything. I got by with B's, but she was a straight A student and so on. No one ever says it, but I know my parents prefer her to me. My aunt is not an easy person to impress at all. She was a lot of firsts in the family. We were at dinner and my aunt started to ask about my sister's job that she got out of college. The whole rest of dinner was talking about my sister, what she's gonna do and so on. It might as well have been a celebration for her. My uncle asked if I was going to college and I snapped at him saying, "Why does it matter? This dinner is about my sister, not me." The table got quiet and my mother told me to apologize. I refused. We got home and I got in an argument with my family who think I was being a jerk. Yeah, I think we have a jerk here, guys. Clearly. I don't really get what the point of this is. Like, you're graduating high school. Okay, great. Celebrating that. But if your family is down for your sister's college graduation, then obviously it's going to be talked about as well, isn't it? At the same dinner. Also, do you really want all the limelight on you? Do you want all your family members saying congratulations for an entire meal? I probably wouldn't want that. I'd want some general chit chat as well. It sounds to me like you're just acting quite spoiled. And ultimately, it's coming across as quite childish. I'll be honest. And also, the first moment that someone did actually say to you, "Oh, by the way, what are you looking to do after this? Congratulations on graduating high school." Your uncle, that is. You instantly shut him down and just say, "No, we're not talking about that, are we?" So, like, it's a lose-lose situation for you. I don't get it. You're in the wrong here. Am I the jerk for backing out of paying for my sister's wedding dress over a joke she made? I had an incident on my wedding day back in 2017, where my former fiancé abandoned me and ran away with his pregnant mistress. That image, those details are forever engraved on my mind, and I'll never forget how I felt that day. This was truly a turning point in my life. My family have always been there for me, so I kept close to them. My younger sister is currently engaged, and her wedding will be in a few months. She's struggling with money, so I decided to help her and her fiancé and pay for the wedding dress. This allowed her to be able to buy her dream wedding gown that cost $7,000. Yeah, it's a lot for a dress, but she literally cried because she wanted it. This happened a few days before we agreed to go and buy the dress. We were eating dinner at my parents' home, and my cousin and aunt were there. My aunt was asking my sister about the wedding, and my sister said that everything was going according to plan, and then casually laughed and said, "Let's just hope he won't run away with a pregnant mistress or something on our wedding day." I was blown away completely. She laughed, and my aunt laughed too, as if this was a joke. She was basically mocking what happens with me at my wedding. It happened so fast. I got up and I started screaming at her, calling her an idiot. But my parents asked me to take it easy, and she said it was just a joke and she didn't think that I'd react so intensely. My aunt remained seated and my cousin asked me to calm down and drink some water, but I grabbed my stuff, and as I was getting ready, I told my sister she was getting $0 for her dream wedding dress. Then I walked out. I heard louder commotion as I walked away, and my dad and cousin followed me outside trying to talk, but I asked to be left alone. My mum and dad spoke to me saying I was too harsh on my sister over a joke, and said that I know this is how she is with her dark sense of humor. They said she's been crying after I decided to back out of helping her, and said that this would ruin the wedding. They want me to reconsider my decision since it might damage my relationship with my sister. But I refused. Did I overreact? Now look, I'm not gonna lie, I love dark humor myself. I would say that my humor is pretty controversial, if anything. Definitely dark, that's for sure. However, when it's a personal jibe like this, and you know how deeply it's affected somebody and how much it's tormented and changed their life, and it's a situation that is just horrible and you wouldn't wish it on anyone, maybe at this stage is not the best time to make a joke. Look, I'll be honest, sometimes offensive jokes are funny, but this one is not. This is like not even close to funny. Also, you're just at a family dinner. Like, surely this is not the place to make this sort of joke. And the main thing is that you know how much this has affected your sister. So yeah, dark humor or not, a terrible joke. And no, you definitely did not overreact. Don't apologize. It's something that your sister has to apologize to you for. Are you mad? Now for our next Am I the Jerk story. Am I the jerk for recording my uncle's drink request? My uncle thinks it's funny to get me to run back and forth between the pool and the kitchen getting him drinks. He'll say he wants a Coke, then claim he asked for a beer, then ask where his Coke is. Can I just say straight off the bat, how is that ever funny? Like, literally after 2 sentences, how could that ever be funny? He usually blames it on us dang millennials always being on our phones and not paying attention. For whatever reason, my parents don't tell him to F off. It started getting old a long time ago, and I usually dealt with it by making myself scarce when he's over. He was visiting over Memorial Day and he caught me. He asked for a Coke, so I brought him a Coke. Then he said he'd asked for a beer. So I put up my phone and played the video I'd recorded of him asking for a Coke. Like most of us dang millennials, I was on my phone when he asked, and I knew what was coming, so I recorded his request. He asked me for a beer because that's what he really wanted, so I told him I'd be happy to get him a beer after he finished his drink, because unlike his boomer generation, I don't waste stuff for the fun of it. He got huffy because he was just joking around. The next time he asked me for a drink, my phone was in my pocket. So I pulled it out and said I didn't remember what he asked for, could he please repeat himself? He said he'd just get his own drinks. I told him that was a great idea. My parents think I was a jerk being rude to a guest and my elder. I thought I was just making sure he got what he asked for. So, am I in the wrong? Yeah, as I said literally at the start, none of this is funny at all. It's just completely stupid. I don't even want to bother giving my comments on this. Your uncle's a weird guy. Like, at what stage of this joke was this ever funny? It's just annoying. Like, if I was OP here, I would have stopped immediately. I don't care about respecting your elders or that sort of stuff. OP has said in an edit that it's cultural to respect your elders and expected to fetch food and drinks for guests, etc. Fine with that. But if someone's just taking their mick like this, can't be bothered. Sorry, go and get your own drinks. I will though say, well done for coming up with a good solution despite your parents' complete lack of awareness. Am I the jerk for making my brother-in-law pay for his son's meal after I said it was my treat? I don't see my sister and her family very often, so when I do, I tend to splurge on them. I'm child-free for now and the foreseeable future, but probably not forever. I took her family out for dinner and I said it was my treat. So it was my sister, her husband, his mum who lives with them, myself, and 3 kids, ages 15, 12, and 10. I took them out to a steak place in their city I always wanted to try. My 15-year-old nephew looks at the menu and says he wants the tomahawk steak. I said it was 3 pounds of meat plus 3 full sides and he should probably pick something smaller. But my brother-in-law says his kid can eat it all and said it was my treat and that I'm trying to cheap out. It's $190 for the steak. I said fine, but if he doesn't eat it all, then you have to pay for it. He agreed. We order and the waiter tells us the tomahawk is usually shared between several people since it comes with 3 shareable portions of sides as well. I asked my brother-in-law if he's sure. He looks at the kid, smiles and says, no problem. We ordered, and when the food came out, the tomahawk and sides took up almost half the table. The kid finished less than a quarter of the steak and only a little bit of the sides. When the bill came, I asked to pay for 7 meals, all the drinks, and all the tip. The tomahawk steak was to be put on a separate bill for my brother-in-law. He paid, with ill grace. My sister said that he used the budget that they'd earmarked to take the family to see the new Spider-Man movie. I felt bad, but I think that he was a jerk to try and waste my money. He thinks I'm in the wrong for following through and making him pay for something that mostly went to waste. And yes, they did take the leftovers home. Well, this one is a pretty open and shut case for me. You've explicitly said, yes, I'm happy to pay. In fact, I want to pay, but if someone's going to waste food, then I'm not going to pay. If they don't waste it, completely fine. There you go. And yeah, the good thing is that they have taken it home at least, but you're only paying for 1 meal out, right? A dinner. You're not paying for someone to have multiple meals at home after the fact. That's just a bit weird. The problem is that your brother-in-law said that it was your treat and that you're trying to cheap out. The steak is $190. Like, you know, let's just have a little bit of common sense here. You're already going to a steak place. Steak is expensive on its own, plus everything else, plus the tips, plus drinks, whatever. But then asking your sister-in-law to spend $190 on a steak for your 15-year-old son, that's not cheaping out. Not paying for that. That's just ridiculous. Now for our final post of this episode. Am I the jerk for not using my husband's hilarious gift? My husband, a 29-year-old man, and I, a 26-year-old woman, have been married for 4 years. I had a great job in sales before COVID, but we found during the pandemic that things just work better with my husband at work and me at home. He earns enough to support us both. I never thought I'd end up being a traditional wife, but given that he's the breadwinner, I sometimes feel as though I should pick up a lot of the slack at home. I'm not a great cook, but I'm sociable, and I enjoy being the hostess. When my husband has friends over to watch soccer, I prep a huge tray of snacks, keep the beers on ice, and pop in with drink and food top-ups during the game. I don't stay to watch, but I do ask the guys how they're doing, just polite chit-chat. They all seemed into it, and they often comment that my husband has done well to have such a great wife. It's a nice setup, and said he'd got me a little something to wear when his friends are next over. Now, I do my best to dress nicely when they're around, so I figured it would be a pretty dress or something. He had this huge grin on his face, so I was so excited. I opened the box to find a red latex mini dress and a ball gag. The gag was designed to look like a soccer ball, and the dress is in his team's colour. I didn't know what to say at first. I was so confused. He's never been into anything like that. He's very vanilla. I asked if it was a joke, and at first he said no and told me his friends wouldn't believe how lucky he was if I walked in with the snacks like that. I can't remember what I said next, but then he told me it would be hilarious if I wore it and I should lighten up. I gave it a nervous laugh and told him I thought it was funny too. This morning, he'd put both items on my dresser and said he's looking forward to seeing me in them when the guys are around tomorrow. I reminded him that he said it was a joke. He got a bit sulky and said he can't believe I don't have a sense of humor. But from what he's saying, it sounds like he's expecting me to wear it. I'm so confused because 1, I don't know if he's done this as a joke because his friends think I talk too much, or 2, if he'd get off on me being humiliated. He says I'm being uptight and called me out for being a jerk, but I honestly don't think I'm unreasonable. So, am I in the wrong? Nah, you're definitely not in the wrong here at all. If anything, you're just being objectified. Sorry, it's kind of true. The problem is that because you're so nice anyway to him and his group of friends, they probably, or at least he probably thinks they could just, kind of use you. Not in a terrible way, but you know what I mean? Like use you and get even more out of you. I don't really see the joke here. Like it's not something that you can laugh at yourself about, right? It would just be for him and his mates. And yeah, the word that comes to my mind is just objectification. Very sad, if anything. Like, where's the respect there? You've done so much to help him out. His friends have openly said that they really like you being there and, helping out and that sort of stuff. But if he's wanting you to do stuff like this, it gives me loads of questions as to why you're really there, why he wants you there. Then also you'd have those doubts that you're saying yourself about, do his friends think that I talk too much? Am I there for one reason only, etc., etc. It's not nice. And it's definitely not a funny joke. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this episode of r/Am I the Jerk. Really hope you enjoyed this one. If you did and you want more Am I the Jerk stories right away, check out another episode on screen or down below in the description. Top line, as always. If you're new to the channel, like, subscribe, follow, get your comments in down below. Do you agree with me or disagree with me on any of these 7 posts? And I'll see you all tomorrow for some more Reddit stories.